Okay, so on the assignment sheet it says that we have to design a flyer for print, which means that it has to be 300 DPI and CMYK. Okay, so 300 DPI is the dots per inch or resolution that we have to use in order for it to be higher quality for print. Alright, so it's a 4" by 6" flyer, and from that flyer we're going to, once we finish the flyer and create the key art, we're going to create the Instagram and Facebook web graphics. So for web is always 72 dots per inch and RGB color mode. So this one here is a square, which is 1200 by 1200 pixels. We're not using inches, we're using pixels on this one. Anything for web is always determined in pixels. So we have a square, we have a 1080 by 1920, and then a 1200 by 628 for Facebook event image. Alright, so what we're doing is we're creating the flyer. We're using all of the elements of the flyer to create the Instagram square and Facebook images. Let me see if I have an example. So if we went to a website where we could see banners, you could see, so this would be a banner. You could see here they're keeping the consistent look with, this one has a border around it. It has that kind of velvet kind of background, and it kept the same look but just changed the dimensions here, or the size. So you can see how you can keep your look consistent when you have to do your different sizes. That gives you an idea. So let's start off by creating our flyer first, and then we'll create our Instagram and Facebook images. So there's altogether there's 4 files. You're going to be using this information here. Don't add anything to it. Don't subtract anything to it. All you have to do is copy and paste it. You know, if it says logo, don't use his name. Use the logo. Put the logo in there. It says logo, just the same thing. Icons. Make sure you find those icons, put those in there. All files for web should be saved as JPEG, and all files for print should be saved as PDF. I'm going to fix that. Alright, the images that we're using is there. Usually when I get a flyer design to do, they give me their images. So I would take the images, cut them out, and then arrange them in my design. So what you're going to do is you're using one of these two. So you can use one of these two. So either one or the other. For the venue logo, you're going to use this one, and the artist logo, you're using it here. So here's some more examples of different flyers that were done. And then on the rubric, you have to follow the design process. This means I have to see your sketches. I need to see some rough thumbnails and comprehensives there. The specs, make sure that you're following all the specs on there. All the file sizes have to be right. All the image sizes have to be right. Composition, I want to make sure that you guys compose this in a way, we already went over this before, compose it in a way that it looks good and you have a focal point right here. So the focal point and emphasis should be on the artist. All right, files for submission, I need 4 files. So 2 Instagram files, 1 flyer file for print, 2 Instagram files, and the Facebook event page file. Okay, so at this point we have to select our image using the pen tool. We're going to click around our image. I sped this up so that you guys don't have to watch me click through this. It's probably took about 10 minutes or so. So as I'm kind of clicking through here, I'm going to make sure that over here on the top here that I'm subtracting from the middle. So you could see that now I can select my middle areas that I want to cut out. Speeding this up also. Then once I have it selected, I'm going to take my path and make a selection from it. I'm going to copy that. Now I'm opening up a new file, and that file needs to be a 4-inch by 6-inch for print. So I'm adding a little bleed to it, so a 0.25 bleed on all sides. Make sure it's 300 dpi, and I want to make sure it's in CMYK. Okay, so now I have my document open, and I pasted in my artist. I'm gonna change the background to black. I'm just gonna go ahead and start designing the flyer. What I'm going to do is copy the information just so there's no mistakes and there's no problems with the client in terms of you changed this around or you did this wrong. So to alleviate all the problems, you're just copying the text and pasting it in the same order in which you see it on the assignment sheet. And again, the assignment sheet says on the video that the print file should be PNG, but actually on your file, if you look at your assignment sheet, it says that the print file should be PDF. So you're going to be saving it as a PDF, and I'm going to have a second video that shows you how to save it as a PDF. We're going to take our images that we create in Photoshop, and we are going to bring it into InDesign to save it with printer marks. So right now I'm grabbing the Lil Jon logo and I'm pasting it into Photoshop. What I want to do is make sure that when I resize it, it's not going to lose any kind of resolution. So pasting it in and creating a smart object. I'm fast forwarding through this just because I don't want you to either copy or kind of do what I'm doing here. You're coming up with your own design. So now I'm opening up the venue logo and I'm resizing it in Photoshop. I first created a smart object so that I don't lose resolution if I have to size it up in the future. Sometimes you might have a change where the venue or the person that hired you would like something changed differently, and you might have to resize it up. So you don't want to have the problem of resizing up and having it pixelate. So resizing down will never be pixelated. Resizing up, sometimes it gets pixelated, but if it's a smart object, it will not pixelate. So I'm continuing with my design, and I'm just arranging things correctly on the page. And once I get to a certain point, I want to set my margin. Setting my margin right now. So the margin is the distance 0.25, I think I had it, from the bleed. So that's my margin, and now I'm going to set my bleed. So this is where my bleed should be. And you can see that the artist hand is off the side of the page because the bleed is where the cut mark's going to be. So I want everything to fall within the margin that I want to have printed. So like if I had text and beyond the margin, I want to fix that, keep it within the margin. So I want you guys to look for more elements of explaining that it is a New Year's Eve party or event. So whatever it takes for you to kind of create that look. You might want to go and look up different flyers or whatnot, or anything that can spark you to be creative. So now I'm just creating my Facebook and Instagram icons I'm cutting them out of the background and then making them a smart object. Then I'm going in here and cutting out that checkerboard that's in the background there. So when I bring it in, I'm changing the color overlay to match the flyer. Copying and pasting, so everything is exactly what they wrote on their, well, on your assignment sheet. So it's almost like if I were to get a job, I'd get the same thing written to me, and I would just copy and paste from the email or from a post that they gave me. So right now I'm correcting Lil John so that he's within the margin there. Okay, so I want to make sure that all my layers are named correctly. And you'll see later on that it really helps out when you name your layers, and you also have them in folders. Like in the footer, you might keep as in a folder so that they're all together and grouped. You might name, or you might group your imagery, like if it was, you know, the artist logo with the artist and the background of the fireworks. Whatever your graphic is, you might want to group. When you're creating the different sizes, the web banner sizes or the Facebook banner and the Instagram stories, you're going to have to rearrange things, and you want to keep the same look. So in order for you to keep the same look, you want to make sure that all this stuff is grouped. And the naming of your layers will save you time in the long run when you're doing different sizes. So I would definitely rename your layers.